Hello everybody, welcome back to the Bad Bookers Wrestling Podcast. My name is Jack, and am I sat really close again? Can't tell. Yeah, SmackDown Live 205 Live tonight. Very good evening of wrestling, in my opinion. I didn't fall asleep, I didn't get bored once, so it's an improvement on yesterday. But yeah, SmackDown Live was good. We had a very good six-man tag and a decent triple threat in there, and 205 Live delivered with the title match that they had as well. So we'll start off with SmackDown as we usually do. We'll go in order. We kicked off SmackDown with Samoa Joe coming out to the ring. Doesn't speak first, he goes straight under the ring, gets a ladder, sets it up in the ring and brings down the Money in the Bank briefcase. So in WWE law, he's not going to win Money in the Bank. But then he cuts a really good promo on Daniel Bryan saying, what did he say now? I can't remember. Basically, he was just laying into Daniel Bryan and saying he brought up Brie and his kids and said that he was going to be a changed man when they have their match. Bryan comes out and says, because this was going to be the main event match, obviously, it's the merger of Daniel Bryan. But Daniel Bryan came out and said, look, we don't have to wait until main event. Let's go right now. Bryan gets into the ring and they're about to have a brawl. And Big Cass comes out on his crutch. Everyone was really pleased to see Big Cass. He goes on and says how, I think one of his lines he used were, the shrimp and the blimp, you know, body shaming and all that. Great work, Big Cass. But Big Cass came out and said he's spoken to Paige and that Daniel Bryan Samoa Joe wasn't going to happen, and he was going to get his title, his Money in the Bank qualifying match against Samoa Joe when he's medically cleared. He also said that he was already medically cleared. I can't get to medically cleared. He was already medically cleared, and he chucks the mic at Daniel Bryan, goes to smack Daniel Bryan with his crutch, and gets Samoa Joe instead. Daniel Bryan starts punching him and whatnot, but Big Cass kicks him down, picks up the Money in the Bank briefcase, so he's not going to win Money in the Bank. And well, first of all, he chucks Daniel Bryan into the ladder, which Samoa Joe had put in the corner. Chucks Daniel Bryan to over there, picks the Money in the Bank briefcase up, smacks Joe over the head with it, smacks Daniel Bryan over the head with it, lifts it up, and yeah, end the segment. Joe's promo is really good, as always. Samoa Joe, his promos are always really good. But yeah, we cut back to a backstage segment, and it was with Paige. She had a little bit with Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Said that Mandy Rose is going to face Asuka tonight. But then she, in an interview with, I think it was Renee Young, with an interview, she said that, I can't believe that Joe's hijacked the show already and whatnot. And she said that we're not going to get Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, you know, the match that was hyped up for weeks. Instead, we're going to get Samoa Joe versus Big Cass, as he was cleared, as well as Daniel Bryan, in a triple threat match for the last spot in Money in the Bank. Which, everyone was hyped. Ever since last week, everyone was hyped for this one-on-one between Joe and Daniel Bryan. And I really hope that we do still see that in the near future. But it wasn't going to be tonight. They inserted Big Cass into there, which I guess it's understandable why they did it, but I think everyone was just hyped up for this one-on-one between Joe and Daniel Bryan, which WWE were hyping up that it was the first time ever. Well, Tom Phillips was saying first time ever. Corey Graves came out and said first time ever on SmackDown Live. So we all know the history between Joe and Daniel Bryan over in Ring of Honor and whatnot. But after that, leading up, where are we? We had a match between Shinsuke Nakamura and Ty Dillinger, which came from social media, which is always a good basis to start a match with. Not much to say in this match. Nakamura won, obviously. He's not going to lose to Ty Dillinger. And then he counted up to 10. And yeah, just builds up, gives Nakamura something to do, builds up the last man standing match. It's alright. We then had a segment which was announced beforehand on Twitter, I believe it was. It was a dance-off between Lana and Naomi. And I had really big fears about this segment. It just, when I first saw it, I put on Twitter like, oh, women's revolution, woo! I had really big fears that it was just going to be like a Divas thing in the Attitude Era or something like that. It just screams like bra and panty matches and all that crap, and I was just like, oh no, please no. It was better. I'm going to say it was better than what I feared, because one, they didn't drag it on at all, which, good. It lasted 5 minutes, if that, which, like, good. I don't want it being dragged on, because if it got dragged on, it would have been horrendous. A la Bobby Lashley's sister segment. But it didn't get dragged on. It still wasn't amazing, like, it wasn't great, but we had Lana come out with Rusev and Aiden English, and we had Naomi come out and she brought out Jimmy and Jey Uso, and they had their dance. Lana won, by the way. She 100% won. They had their little dance off, and then they danced together for a bit, and then Lana hit a neck breaker on Naomi, and they started brawling, and then Lana slaps one of the Usos. They're twins. I still don't know which one's which, but Lana slapped them. A brawl kind of broke out. But next week, it led up to a match for next week, which, good. I mean, if you're going to have a really, I'm going to say risky segment like this, it needs to kind of like lead on to something. So next week we're going to have a mixed tag team match, which they obviously had the mixed match challenge recently, and good. We all want to see kind of more mixed match tag teams, I think, more intergender matches and stuff like that. They had it at WrestleMania with Ronda, Kurt, Triple H and Stephanie. I think, if done safely, obviously, we should see more intergender matches and whatnot, and having more mixed tag matches is a great way to do that. And I know you got the likes of Candice LeRae on NXT. She's an intergender wrestler on the indies, and I know that Triple H, it's been reported that Triple H wants to bring in more intergender wrestling, so I'm all for that. It's whether or not the sponsors want to see that. But next week we're going to have, I think it was Naomi and her husband, I think it's Jimmy Uso, is it? Or was it Jay? I can't remember. Whoever's married to Naomi, them two are facing Lana and Aiden English, not Lana and Rusev, Lana and Aiden English, which, good, great in my opinion. That gets a thumbs up from me. After that, we had a really good match between New Day versus The Bar and The Miz. 6 great competitors. They all know what they're doing. They're all great wrestlers. They pulled off a really good match, which, if I remember rightly, Big E pins The Miz. So 2 weeks in a row now, Big E has, not 2 weeks in a row, no, The Miz pins, so The Miz pins Big E last week, and then Big E pins The Miz this week. So finishings of matches is involving Big E. So that suggests to me that Big E's going to be in Money in the Bank. Still don't know which of the New Day members are going to be in, but for Big E to be involved in two of the finishes of the matches, that would suggest to me that it's going to be Big E, and the rumours are true that Big E is going to be in there. We then had a match between Asuka and Mandy Rose. Wasn't much to talk about in this match. It's kind of like a filler, like I don't want to say a toilet break match because that's quite insulting to the rest, but it essentially was. Asuka versus Mandy Rose. Sonya Deville attacked Asuka beforehand just to get a bit of heat on them. But then Asuka eventually came to win the match, because you're not going to have her lose against Mandy Rose. You're not going to have her lose against Carmella clean, hopefully. But yeah, Asuka won. Carmella, bloody hell, he wasn't on commentary. Carmella was on commentary, and then she got into the ring afterwards, lifted up a belt, and yeah, builds towards that, I guess. But we had this triple threat main event: Big Cass versus Samoa Joe versus Daniel Bryan, and it was a decent triple threat. It made everyone look strong. Obviously, with multi-man and multi-women matches, you gotta make everyone look fairly strong, haven't you? And yeah, Big Cass did his thing, got his heat. Daniel Bryan did all his moves and looked really good doing it. But eventually, the match was won by Samoa Joe after Daniel Bryan hit his, is it flying knee or flying kick? Oh, I should know that. He hit that on Big Cass, went to pin him, 1-2. As the ref hit 2, Samoa Joe came out of nowhere, picked Daniel Bryan up, and Coquina clutched him. And Daniel Bryan faded, like most big baby faces do. So Samoa Joe is going to the Money in the Bank, which was, I would say, expected from most people. I kind of thought that as Big Cass got put into the match, he would take the pin or tap out, but Daniel Bryan took it from, so I assume that was what was planned in the 1v1, that Samoa Joe was going to make Daniel Bryan go to sleep. I think everyone expected that. So yeah, Joe's in the Money in the Bank, which I'm kind of hoping we don't see Cass versus Bryan again, because that would suggest that Cass would win if you want to make him look strong, and then we'll have a third one. So I really hope that they just don't do that. I hope that some way Daniel Bryan's on the pay-per-view, because you need Daniel Bryan, a big name like Daniel Bryan, to be on a pay-per-view. He's not going to be in Money in the Bank, obviously, but I just hope he's not facing Big Cass. Hopefully. They probably will, but you never know. That was SmackDown Live. Like I said, a very good show, much better than Raw, but we move on to 205 Live, which in my opinion was as good. First match, we had tag team match between Kendrick and Jack Gallagher versus the Lucha House Party. Kendrick and Gallagher won after interference from Drew Gulak, so we're going to get a 6-man tag soon from that, I assume. But then the match that everyone was been talking about, Buddy Murphy versus Cedric Alexander for the Cruiserweight Championship. Very good match. I put this on Twitter. Very good match, and it says a lot about 205 Live, that in my opinion there's been better matches in recent weeks, but this was very good. Both men had great back and forth, some great chemistry. They both looked incredibly strong. They both worked body parts, like Buddy Murphy was working the back for the majority, Cedric's back for the majority of the match. Cedric looked amazing, his selling was incredible. It was just really good. If you got a chance, go see it. It was in Cedric's hometown, and we all know the rule where if you're in your hometown, you lose. Cedric retains. They went against the rule. Cedric retains the Cruiserweight title, and I wouldn't mind if this was in Money in the Bank again, in my opinion, because it was a good match. I can see, I was really sceptical that they were having a title match on 205 Live this close to a pay-per-view, because that suggests to me that they're not going to be on the pay-per-view. But during this match, I thought to myself, it's kind of good that they're having it on 205 Live, because they can have a half-hour match like this. They can have 25 minutes. They can have they can really go all out on 205 Live. Granted, it's not on a big stage like a pay-per-view, but they wouldn't get that time on a pay-per-view. They'll get 10 minutes, 15 minutes at that. But to have it on 205 Live, they've got the chance to go half hour. and they did, and like I said, it was very good. Very impressed. 205 Live is still going strong, and everyone knows I'm a big supporter of it, and everyone knows that I always try and get them to go watch it. Don't know why my phone's not moving, but yeah, SmackDown Live, 205 Live, very good night for wrestling in my opinion. Much better than Raw. Today didn't send me to sleep, at least. So good, cracking night. Admin, we're recording the podcast on Thursday, so if you've got any questions, leave them down in the comments, or leave them over on Twitter at BadBookersWP. Twitter's been going crazy recently. We've gained quite a few followers, and yeah, it's all going fine and dandy. Like this video if you liked it, I guess. Dislike it if you disliked it. That's how the voting system works. And like I said, any questions, leave them down in the comments. Anything that you enjoyed from SmackDown Live or Raw, leave them on this video or Raw's review. Anything you liked on 205 Live, leave them down below. But I shall end it there because I'm just starting to ramble like I usually do. I'm just one big rambler. Like, subscribe, and I shall see you again tomorrow for NXT. I also have to apologise. I did say last week that I wasn't going to be in my car. I'm in my car. Lucha. I'm in my car. So that means I'm obviously at work again. I just like money, so I like working. I do apologise. One of these days I'll get back to doing it at my own house and getting some proper lighting in, and not being in a cramped car like this. But yeah, please like, please subscribe, and I shall see you again tomorrow for NXT, where hopefully we get some more progress towards NXT TakeOver Chicago. Thank you and goodbye.